Hello everyone, I hope I am audible, and yes, I am wearing a mask, and I have done it on purpose to emphasize the fact that at present the most important thing for us to do is to stay safe, right? I hope you are all doing well and you are safe, you are at your home, and I request you to please be at home, right? Do not go outside until you need it very urgently, and if you go outside, please do wear a mask, whether it's a rule or not, you should wear mask to be safe, alright? And if you return from outside, please make sure that you wash your hands with soap and water properly and use hand sanitizer. There is no denying of the fact that we are all going through a hard time, right? The whole world is going through a very tough time. But believe it or not, there is an end to a hard time. There is always an end to a tough time. Just as they say, there is always a light at the end of the tunnel. So it might be that at this stage you are depressed, you are frustrated, you are anxious. If you are not, well, congratulations, because I am also facing the same difficulties as you. But we need to have a little bit of patience. We need to wait till this tough situation, this tough crisis gets over. Until then, the most important thing that we need to do is to stay safe. Nothing else is more important than staying safe, staying away from this deadly pandemic as much as we can. This is very important. Your career, your exams, your degree, nothing is more important as your health. Please do understand it. Alright? So in pursuing those things, in pursuing education, in pursuing your career, in pursuing your degree, please don't do any act that is going to risk your health at this stage. Right? So stay at home, study from home. There is no harm in doing that, and I'm going to discuss how you should do that if you are in the pre-final or final year. So if you are in the pre-final year, at present there is no need to study any theoretical topic for the final year. All that is important in the pre-final year is how to take history and perform a clinical examination and have a basic idea about the important cases that are going to be asked in the exam. And at this stage, you can do that easily by staying at home. And after this thing gets over, after everything becomes normal, it would be, right? It might take 3 months, it might take 4 months, but at one point of time it is going to be normal, believe me, right? So after that time you can visit the wards and you can definitely take history and examine the patients clinically. For final years, yes, I know that you people are anxious, you people are quite worried that what is going to happen, and also maybe a few people are thinking that okay, just like a lot of other universities, a lot of other colleges, maybe our exams would get cancelled and we would just pass final year. No, I'm very sorry to say that's not going to happen. Even if the other years are going to pass, like the second year or third year, whatever, you people, you guys are not going to pass just like that. You have to sit for the exam. It might get postponed a month or so, right? But it's not going to get cancelled, and you're not going to just pass and become a doctor, because the final year is the entry stage into your internship and into the clinical world, right? So it is very important that each and every student is assessed before we let out doctors, right? Just imagine in any factory, after a product is manufactured, it goes through a testing that okay, this product would be viable in the real world, and that is what final year is. It's just a test to detect that okay, you are eligible, you are sufficient enough to face the real clinical world now, and that is your internship and clinical postings. And after you have gone through that rigorous training, you are eligible to become a doctor finally. So let's discuss how you are going to prepare yourself for the final exam whenever it takes place, right? So as you know, it has two parts, theory and practical. In theory, there are a few important topics that you need to know at this stage. Later on, you can study the other topics that are important from theoretical exam point of view, but as of now, you do not need to study them in great detail, right? And in practical, there are a lot of things that are important. At this stage, you should focus more on the practical than on the theory part. In theory, you should study mainly the cases that are usually asked in your exam. For example, chronic cholelithiasis. For example, varicose veins. Because once everything gets back to normal, you are going to see these patients in the wards and you are going to be taught on these patients, right? So the topics that you need to study during this period before you again resume your wards and clinical postings is the cases. So you should definitely study about the gallbladder. You should definitely study about the venous diseases. You should study about the breast, and most importantly, carcinoma of breast. You should study about the stomach, and most importantly, carcinoma of stomach and gastric outlet obstruction. In the intestines, you should study intestinal obstruction and CA colon or colorectal cancer. That is very important. And you are going to have patients presenting with maybe a lump in the left iliac fossa or something, which ultimately turn out to be a malignancy of the colorectal region, right? In pancreas, acute and chronic pancreatitis, pseudocyst of pancreas, these are important topics. The other important topics, that is in general surgery, it's going to be wound. It's very important, wound and wound healing. It is asked as a long question quite often in a lot of exams, so that is very important. The next important thing is shock. That is also a very important long question in exams. Shock, classification, stages, everything. Hemorrhage also very important. And burns is another important topic. You need to know about burns. So these are more or less the topics that you need to focus on as of now for the theory as well as for the cases of practical, because theory would ultimately be sufficient for answering questions in the practical. I have said that in practical as well. For example, you get a patient of say carcinoma of breast, right? So after a certain point of time, the questions after this history, clinical examination, everything gets over. If the examiner wants to ask you from carcinoma of breast or from breast, that is again from the theory chapter, right? It is going to be anatomy of the breast, it is going to be the lymphatic drainage of the breast, it is going to be the clinical presentations of maybe patients with CA breast, or maybe some other breast diseases like fibroadenoma. So you are going to study breast as of now, and you are definitely going to cover the practical part of breast as well when you study the theory. In the practical part, if you still don't know how to take a proper history and conduct a clinical examination, please be sure that you know it. You may conduct clinical examination on your family members, on your brother, sister, mother, father, anyone. I suppose you are at home and you are with your parents or your siblings or other family members. So definitely you can perform a few physical examinations on them. There is no harm in palpating the abdomen of your father, right? And he is going to allow it. A lot of times we feel uncomfortable to ask our parents that whether we can conduct a physical examination on them, but believe me, they'll definitely agree to be your patient for some time. That's actually some sort of a pride for a parent too, right? That his or her son or daughter is examining on him and he is going to become a doctor. Whether your parent is a doctor or whether they're not doctors, it doesn't matter. Apart from history and clinical examination, the other important aspects of practical that you should consider studying now are the instrument and the operatives. The best method, as I've always mentioned, to study instruments and operatives is to be in the real world yourself, handle the instruments with your own hands in demonstration classes, and for operatives being in the OT. But as of now it is not possible, so you need to study it yourself. Our app Surgipedia is going to be launched by the end of this month, by the end of April, and you are going to get a lot of help because we have videos on the theories as well as the practical, on history taking, on clinical examination, on the instruments, on operatives. I have discussed about it all in the app. Also, we are posting a lot of content on our Facebook page. If you are not following it, if you have not liked it, please do. The link for the page is given in the description box below. We are posting about instruments, we are posting about clinical cards that are asked in a lot of practical exams. We are posting about some small topics, bite-sized topics in theory. So you can just go through that image that we post and you can definitely learn a small topic from that. So please check that out. We are also posting videos on YouTube just like this. So make sure that you like and subscribe as well. We have also designed a study table for you for the month of May that you can follow if you are going to stay at home, and if the colleges don't reopen in the month of May, you can definitely follow that routine and study surgery for your final exam. The table is going to appear on the screen after I end this video. If you need to download the table or get hands on the soft copy, please do contact us. The contact details, all our contact details are mentioned in the description box below. So before concluding, I want to tell you again that please be safe, be at home, and don't get anxious, don't get frustrated, and don't lose hope. This thing is going to end soon, maybe in a month, maybe in 2 months, but it will end. There's nothing that has not ended. Everything has to end, right? I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much.